Hey, Rockstar. Welcome to the show. It's a good day. You know why it's a good day? Because I'm alive, you're alive, and to me, that makes everything all right, all right, all right. This is episode 25 of Hey, Rockstar. Great show. And we have an interview with a rock star. You're up for a good show. But anyway, go ahead, Miguel. Go ahead and push the intro video. Miguel. Really? Really? You're there? You're not. You have one job. I only ask you to work one day, dude. Thursday. You know we have our show on Thursdays. And no. That's okay, dude. That's okay. I'll take care of this for you. I got you, boo. No. You do you, man. You do you. I'll totally run the show with. Sorry. There's 1 billion monkeys in this world, and I happen to be roommates with the only one who self-identifies as a millennial. Rockstar. Hey, Rockstar. Hey, Rockstar. Hey, Rockstar. Hey, Rockstar. Hey, Rockstar. 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 Hey, Rockstar! This is a storytelling platform designed to empower you to build yourself up physically, spiritually, mentally, socially, and financially. Why stories? Because stories live on. They are eternal. They are a powerful reminder of what one can accomplish when opportunity presents itself. So listen carefully, learn the lessons, apply them to the Big Five, and become the rock star of your industry. Y'all, you know I love Miguel. He's a good little lad, even if he's a little misbehaved. But anyway, welcome y'all to Hey Rockstar, the show where you can come and listen to stories, powerful stories that inspire you to grow physically, spiritually, mentally, socially, and financially, so that then you can go and become the rock star of your industry. I am Josafat Emiliano, and well, as you guys know, I love to help professionals. Actually, let's wait before I mention that. Today's not about me. Today's about episode 25, interview with the rock star. And today's rock star is someone who I've known literally since I was 5 years old. But anyway, we go a long way. There's a lot of history. And I'm not going to take too much more time other than to say this rock star gave me permission to introduce her however I felt fit. But she is a rock star when it comes to parenting and when it comes to college administration. However, I also know her as a business owner. I know her as a super mom, as an amazing spouse, as amazing sister, as amazing family members. Everyone, bring to the table wisdom. Judith Espinoza. Oh no, what happened? There you
Oh
are.
my gosh, you're gonna make me. Oh, you're gonna make me cry. I choked a little bit just for that.
Nah. I'm gonna move Miguel over here. He likes being. on my right shoulder, left shoulder. What's up, Judith? How's everything in San Antonio, Texas?
Whoop whoop. It's nice and hot. We had tornado warning last
Yeah,
night, which was fun,
really.
but we survived, got through the day. I don't know. I've here of late, I've been thinking that yesterday was Thursday, and I'm like, no, today is not Friday. So one more day, one more day. It's good. It's good. Can't complain.
Right now here in Nashville, we literally you just missed it. As I got home, all of a sudden just it got cloudy, it got dark, it got nasty. It started raining. It hailed, and I was like, "Uh oh." Then my electricity was going in and out. I was like, "Okay, I guess I'm not gonna do the show." And then right before this kicked on, it just went away, and the sun came out. I'm like, I felt like I was back in Texas there for a minute, but we're a little soaked here in Nashville. But anyway, uh, Judith, I'm gonna give you leeway. Let our people know just a little bit about your story and what you're about, what you like to do, and I'll fill in the gaps if need to.
Oh man, okay. So it all started when my mother gave birth to me at approximately, I'm just kidding. For those of you who are really big into birth charts here of lately, I find that absolutely fascinating. Um, so
I'm
where
not
do
peeing.
I begin? I guess it start off it's like start off where I am now. I currently live in San Antonio. I am a proud wife and a mother of two amazing children. I own a startup company which emphasizes on flower wall rentals, which I created, and I work full time in administration, upper management administration in a university, and I just recently started helping my husband's company in in management, better said, as an office manager. And then I I teach yoga on the side, and on the fall semester I teach English, and and I also teach yoga. I am a certified yoga instructor. That's my saving grace, and that's where I am. And getting to as people tell like sometimes whenever I say this, people are always like, "Oh my gosh!" And I've actually simplified my life a lot because I found these things that I really love and I'm good at, and I it's not a lot of work, and I'm at this point where I do not want to be busy. I want to be productive, and that's something that at this ripe age of 35, I'm 34, I'll be 35 soon. That's something that
Yeah, you're older
I've
than
been
me now.
struggling with because for moms, shut up. Anyways, for moms, I think especially I don't know if it's like maybe American culture, but for moms, we feel like we always have to be busy and we somehow get caught up in this and we lose our identity. And that's something that I struggled with. I got pregnant when I was 19. I was this baby. I suffered with postpartum depression and I felt so lost for so many years. And school was my saving grace. In taking these English classes, I was exposed to so many beautiful narratives of powerful women that just began to broaden my horizons. And I just realized I am a mom, I'm a good mom, but that's not all of me. This is just a part of me. And what does this look like? And just started exploring with that. And like everyone else, I like a lot of people, I sort of fell into this track where I'm like, okay, I'm just going to stay in this one area. I'm not going to really venture out. I wanted to go off for my PhD, and I thought I'm going to be a college professor forever. That's it. This is it. This is my dream. And then all of a sudden, I just found myself like, this piece of paper can't define me. I can't like, life's too big for this. And I just started exploring other options. And that's when I went off and got my yoga certification. And I went off and started looking into opening my own business. But I keep on coming back to college just because one, I have a lot of years in the classroom. But I've spoken to so many people, and for whatever reason, people think I give good advice when it comes to college. It's so interesting because I remember I would have students come into my office and they'd be like, I wish I had talked to you 3 years ago and I wouldn't find myself in X amount of debt in the wrong track. And I'd be like, it's never too late. It's never too late. So I really have found like one of my platforms is I think we really need to talk about what education looks like. I feel like somehow we have gotten caught up as a culture that a piece of paper is this defining factor, and we zoom and we just plow through to get to the end goal, but yet we have this concept of like filling up our brain with content and then we dump it out, because when you go back and you ask students, hey, what did you learn, they'll be like, I don't know, because it's just so much pressure that they have to get through and get this degree so they can enter the work field, and boom, 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 boom.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting you mentioned that education. So, just out of curiosity, um, why do you think that school is such a high demand these days? Why do you think, or is that just a norm that we do? Like, well, you finished college or you finished high school, so now the obvious next step is college or a trade school or something. Is Do you agree that's the natural next best thing for everyone to do next? I know it's kind of a broad
It's
question, but
really, it's a really good question. I haven't thought of that, and I love that. I think a lot of it stems. Okay, so my experience is based off of my parents. Were my dad is an immigrant, um, m- middle school education. My mother does have. She did go and get her bachelor's degree later on, but my dad would keep telling me like, I couldn't get far because I didn't have the knowledge.
mm,
And I want you to go to school so that way you can do more than what was able to do. And we understand that we need knowledge. We we don't know everything, and we need this knowledge in order to open doors. But somehow we believe that the only way to get through those doors is through this institution that we've called college. And it's not the only way. And I was just having this conversation with my son and my one of my best friends. I talk with her almost every day, and I was in this car with my son, and we were arguing because he did not want to. He was given an award at school, and he did not want to go. And I was like, son, this is your last year in junior high. Just do it for me. I'm like, this is it. You're my baby. I want to see you get this award. And that then you don't have to walk the stage until you get your diploma. I'm fine with that. And my friend was just laughing. She's like, and because I thought, it's like, am I being a bad parent by setting such a low standard, as in, as long as you get this diploma, we'll be fine. We'll be fine. And I love her because she's an attorney. And she just told me, I've gone to school and I know so many people who go on to advanced degrees and they're miserable. And you are showing your son that a degree is not this defining factor. And in fact, there's many people who are way more successful and they didn't get a degree. And they're happier. That's also not just successful, but happier. Um, and so it's such an interesting it's so interesting because as a parent, you want your kids to do more, be more. I want my kids to go to school. I want my kids to have an education, but I'm not forcing it. And if they decide they don't want to go to college, I'm okay with it, because I have been on the other side of that desk
yeah.
and I've seen students struggle, and just students who shouldn't be in college. Oh my goodness, sorry guys. Um, and
You can go to school for that.
um, I'm just gonna YouTube. um, so it's interesting as a parent, just finding that balance, just going back and forth. Um, I talked to my mom, and actually, she was on one of my podcasts, one of the episodes, and we I didn't realize how much my mom was like, as long as as a mother, she said, my biggest concern or my biggest job for her, like as long as I taught my kids to love to learn, I knew that they were going to be okay. And I just gave them the tools and knew how to learn, how to get that knowledge, how to just go out there and explore.
I mean, if you think
And
about it, all you
following
really need
up,
is.
I was
Oh,
oh
my
sorry.
bad. Go ahead.
No, no, no. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, no. What I was saying is, so basically, uh, the education in itself, and again, I don't want to stump on anyone who went to college, because I went to college and I got my bachelor's, but I do remember when the next step was to go for my master's or go for my MDiv or whatever, my doctorate. And at one point, I'm like, why do I want to? Because what I noticed, and of course, it works out in every field. When you start in college and you're doing like your basics and you're doing your general studies, it's fun because you get to meet people from all walks of life. You get to do experiment a lot of cool things. You get to go to
Yeah.
college parties and stuff that Greg Ferguson and I talked about from our college days, but from a few shows ago. But as you get closer to your degree studies, the classes become smaller. You become more what's the word, concentrated, and you tend to see the same faces over and over again. And after that, it kind of loses its zeal for me, at least the whole adventure side. And I'm like, why do I want to go to even smaller classes and spend more little time and more money for something that I can do for the same job? Now I get it. There's some careers where in order to advance, for example, in education, like if you want to go to teach in a university, you can't unless you have at least a master's. If you want to teach certain things, you can go to the doctorate and all this stuff. And there's different requirements, people who climbed up. But I mean, I guess I was the kind of guy like I got enough to get the job done, kind of situation. The rest is up to me. Also, what really turned me on is I was meeting a lot of business successful people who had a doctorate of letters. Not because they went to school, but because they accomplished something big with their finances, or they created something that it helped others, that universities adopted them and gave them an honorary doctorate. Like, that would be the best way to make it, to get a doctorate. Achieve something amazing. They're like, you know what? We just want to give you a doctorate. And I could just start saying,
Right.
Dr.
Yeah.
Rockstar here.
Yeah. Because you were I have to remember, my grandma might be listening, because you were effing amazing at your job. and and it goes back to, we need to think about it, not the end result, but it really is the journey. It sounds so
Yeah.
cliche, right? It's like being the absolute best at where we are right now. Um, and we forget about that. And I have to tell my kids, and that's my goal as a parent. I want my kids to be able to take on life's challenges, to get dirty, grind through life, because it's not easy. And I think, unfortunately, from sitting and talking to so many students,
Yeah.
they somehow think that this piece of paper is going to just save their ass. And I'm like, no, you have to get your hands dirty. I have, like, I can, I've had so many students who come to me their senior year, and they're like, I don't know what I'm going to do. Oh shit. Oh my gosh. I don't know what I'm going to do with my life. And it's like, they somehow, I had a student come in, a potential student, and they're like, they're like, why should I pursue this degree? And what kind of jobs can you guarantee me from this
Mm.
degree? And I was just like, it was really interesting. And this person was super salty. And I'm like, first of all, this degree can only get you so far. It's this and this that
Yeah.
will make you phenomenal. And this person just didn't get that. And I'm like, dear Lord, please don't go become a doctor.
I mean, the degree will at least get you, at least will get your resume into the right pile. But what you do with once you have that opportunity to be in front of someone else, that's what happens. It's kind of like dating. And of course, you've been married now, so the main. Okay, did you ever watch the movie Mr. Hitch or something with the Will Smith? Hitch.
Yes.
Okay, so his whole purpose at first was you just got to get their attention, whether it's grab the dog, get a pen, have everything ready, something that they'll like, oh, you exist in this world, and then the rest is up to you to kind of outstand, attract, and retain the person. And so to me, going to school to get a certain degree is to get at least to let the possible employer know, hey, you exist. you do qualify, but now it's up to the romance, it's up to the dance, it's up to see if you're the right fit. Because some people, honestly, if we're not gonna work well together, why do I want that headache? If the decision makers are okay, why do they need a headache? That's not gonna help them out. They need someone to help them move. But anyway, that's just funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, attitude, y'all.
Going off to that, just an undergraduate should teach you how to think. It
Mm.
should give you the tools to think, to be a critical thinker, problem solver, think outside of the box, broaden your horizons. That's what I believe an undergrad degree should do. Really give you a rich foundation. And a master's begins to build on and help you obtain a sense of speciality, a sense of expertise in a specific field. And that just transfers on into a PhD or an advanced degree or even certifications. And just FYI, here's like a tidbit that I think we really undermine the emphasis of getting like certifications. So I've talked to so many students who will tell me, how can I be more marketable after I'm done with my degree? And it's like, unfortunately, an undergrad degree, it's like, it doesn't mean a whole lot anymore. It does in some places and some it isn't. But one thing that I really recommend is go and get additional certifications. You can advance your learning, get a certification in program management, get a certification in a specific software, go get a certification. You can do that online, especially during this pandemic where a lot like so many companies are making this accessible. And it's
We just lost your audio. I can't hear you right now.
okay,
Okay,
sorry.
now you go. Now you good.
Okay. um my mind went blank. Oh, like it's so accessible to have a sense of a speciality, and you don't have to go off and become like this amazing expert, like you have a doctorate, but that just gives you a competitive edge, and it's affordable, and it's not going to take you another 4 years.
Mm. That's really, yeah. It won't take you 4 years. A trade school sometimes will take you like 6 months, and
Oh
you can
yeah.
easily be making like, let's just say plumbing. And again, it's not the sexiest thing in the world. However, when my toilet gets plunged up, I mean, I know how to fix my toilet, but let's just say an apartment complex, no matter how, if you're a wealthy person, you're like, I didn't make this much money so that I could just plunge my own toilet. I'd rather pay someone $100 an hour to come plunge my toilet for me, and they'll pay it because they don't want to touch their own crap. But I'm just saying, that's oversimplifying that analogy. All right, so I mean, we can talk all day about this because I even have an
We
idea
can.
that whenever I start my different businesses, I also want to start a nonprofit or a LLC that gives back to people who are interested. It like gives grants and education to people who want to go to trade schools. Not
Hmm.
just not a liberal college. There's plenty of other grants for that. I want people who want to get into the trades because we need more people who aren't scared to do manual labor and keep our economy going with the unsexy jobs. But I would rather have provide grants for those people because I know that's a return on my investment because they will provide something better for our future generations.
Yeah, really quickly before we go off and just going on that, I love that idea because one, and a lot of students, a lot of people, they're like, school's not for me, but somehow they feel like that's the only value. And I love that you're like, no, the world is so rich. Your identity is so rich. You like, it's okay to be an amazing plumber. I mean, you get into that job and you create some freaking amazing technology that blows us out of the water. Like, but like you can, but like
Boom.
if you walk to this with that kind of mindset, you will be able to just open up doors. And I think what I want to do with my kids is really show them how you do this starting at ground zero. When you go
Mm.
into a fast food restaurant job where you walk in and you're like, you know what? This may not be my end, but I'm going to be here, do my best. But not only that, figure out ways. be a critical thinker, be a problem solver, and how can I make the job easier? How can I make this? Let's just find some ways to twist it. And you start practicing those skills, you start building them, and as you become an adult, boom, you're amazing. You are a rock star. You are a rock star.
Yeah. Speaking of skills, what kind of skill do you think everyone should have?
Oh, that's a really good question.
I know you asked
Two.
me that.
Can I say two? Can I say two?
Yes,
Two.
let's give me two. Oh,
One.
hold up. Right now I just had this message from Spectral Bonsai. My volume is a bit lower than Judith. I just went and raised it up. Please let me know in the comments if it's any better or any worse. But
Wait, are you saying that it's because I'm a woman, I can't have my volume louder than his? I'm just
no,
kidding.
it's just because I'm the moderator.
I'm just kidding.
We're not gonna get into that conversation today. Please let your voice be heard.
Thank
All
you.
right, so
Thank you.
skills, two skills.
Okay. One, I really think everybody should have a strong handle on reading comprehension. We have to read.
Yeah.
Reading is one of the best ways to get knowledge. It's free. You can read a newspaper, and we don't emphasize enough. I think now in my kids' school and education, they're really putting those skills, but my generation, I have worked with students to help with reading comprehension. And actually, that's something that I get so excited about. Like, I love helping people enhance and improve their reading skills. So that's one. Number two, conflict management. The reality is that we are going to find ourselves in really heated situation. And how do you learn how to come into a very emotional situation and maintain a sense of level-headedness, but also acknowledging your own emotions, being able to work with other people, conflict management. You have no idea how many times that has saved me in my job. And not only that, had given me a sense of a woman that is set me a woman of reputation, just because I knew how to handle conflict, like high conflict, stressful situations, and not lose my cool.
Conflict management. That's all right. So, what would be required of that? Because I had a situation where I was I don't know. I just happened to irritate one of my coworkers, and I realized that. And for some reason, they always had some kind of attitude towards me, and I didn't know why. I just figured everyone else. Well, I mean, everyone else loved me, but for some reason, this person just always tried their best to just. Or I didn't try their best, but you could just sense that they just didn't want to be around me, and so I avoided them or made space for them. When I worked with them, I worked, supported. I acted as though nothing was wrong, but there was never anything resolved from it except for like a few moments where they exploded on me, and I'm just like, okay, and that's it. But after that, they're like, no, we're cool. But you could always tell nothing was cool. How do you handle something like that? Because I'm not one to bite someone's head. I'm not one to make the argument. I'm about like or what's it called? Let bygones be bygones. Let's viva la paz and let's just get this work done. But I'm not sure. I'm not asking you to resolve that, but like any kind of tips on how one could help with conflict management.
Hands down, there's a book that I recommend, Crucial Conversations. That game changer. I can't remember who wrote it because it was like a series of people, but that I actually had I made a little sticky note and I kept it by my monitor because whenever I found myself getting into some situations, I would just read those down and that would help me navigate. You always want to come to the table with, like in your instance, like when they said, oh, it's cool, give that person some space. But then you don't want to make it about, you want to make it about them and how they're feeling, but you're not focusing on what they can do. Does that make sense? So in that instance, I'd be like, I'd come to this table, to this space, so to speak, and like, look, I know you said you're cool. However, I feel that maybe things aren't cool, and I get it, and you are entitled to that. However, I will do everything in my power to mend this bridge to show you that I'm a good team player and I'm just here and I'm not expecting you to tell me anything. I'm not even expecting you to forgive me. I'm just telling you that I am going to show up and be my best in this relationship. That's what I would do. Before all of that, I would definitely ask myself a question. One, is this relationship worth saving? Is it, because it takes energy regardless.
Yeah.
And if it's not, that's okay. It really is. And you can just go back to just maintaining. But I think we need to get into that practice of, and the habit of practicing mindfulness. And that goes in every aspect in having a relationship, determining, is this relationship worth investing in? In your case, it's a coworker you're going to have to work with a lot. Then I would say, yeah, you know what? For the sake of my job, yes.
Oh well, we're good. I don't work there anymore.
Oh, well, cool.
And where I'm at now, it's so. I mean, it's so chill, and I'm always on the road, so it's chill. But no, nothing. It's yeah. People know the Rona happened, and a lot of things changed for a lot of people.
Shoot, when we go back to these, yeah, but when we go back to these workspaces, a lot of us
Yeah.
are just going to be like, I forgot what it's like to talk to a human. Less like, how do you deal with these? And so those two things I recommend to anybody at every stage of life.
Cool. I'm gonna go off these questions now. Judith, what would you advise your younger self?
Therapy. Go to therapy.
Simple like that. What kind? Physical therapy? Did you hurt yourself?
No. Counseling. Let's
Gotcha.
just get straight to it. I suffered postpartum depression, and it was with both pregnancies. And there's such a stigma about counseling. And it's this very fine line where I've talked to some students and they use it as a crutch, and then and they don't do the work. But this is just observation, and every story is different, and this is just from afar. So I'm just being very mindful. But what I would tell myself is go to therapy. The sooner the better. I had a lot of hurt. I had a lot of issues. There's no shame in talking to your doctor and taking antidepressants. You have to be whole. We are all chipped. We are all disfigured. We all have these funky grooves, and we're not this smooth pebble.
Yeah.
But we do want to be our best self. And when you think about it, you really can't go off and be your best and work in other places if you're not your best self with yourself. Like when you're alone, if you don't like yourself, it's a good chance not a lot of people are going to like you too. It's just, if you can't find solitude and strength within yourself, you won't be able to go off and have the strength to move mountains, so to speak. So that's what I would tell myself, hands down. Therapy.
No, I totally agree with you on that part about adding value to yourself to like yourself. Funny thing is that advice I would give to younger guys who are like, how do I get a certain person to like me? I'm like, well, do you like yourself? Do you like what you're about? Can you put up with yourself? Because if you don't, why do you want to give someone else the burden of liking you if you can't appreciate who you are? And it does, and it sounds funny, but it's actually it's a biblical principle. How can you expect to clear a speck of dust from your neighbor's eye if you got this big old block of wood that's just perturbing or disturbing your line of sight? Get rid of what's bugging you before you can even try to help someone else out, kind of situation. But yeah, no, most definitely. I do also advise seek help, seek professional help if you do sense that you are losing control, or if you are in depression and things like that. I tend to bring it from a different perspective, personally, because usually I know whenever I'm not right. I've practiced meditation. I practiced a lot of like self-searching, and I know when to get out of my own head and observe myself. Like, okay, what's going on? Why are you acting this way? This is not you. This is not your normal self. And or sometimes, or even sometimes, like It's cool. I'm okay to be goofy today. Most people would not understand, but that's okay. It's just a part of who I am, another aspect of me. So I mean, I know myself well enough because I've spent the time, I've done the research, I've done the homework to get to know me. I've one person said, "You got to take yourself out on a date, man. You got to get to know yourself," kind of situation.
Treat
And so
yourself right.
treat yourself, and anything else. But let's return to these questions. You actually
Wait,
have
wait, wait,
this.
wait, 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 wait,
Okay,
wait. Hold on.
I won't.
Just with this, because actually, you have no idea how many times I tell students, um, you need to be able to going to school, going to college is hard, especially going to an advanced degree. And if you fall apart when your boyfriend breaks up with you, um, you need to go back and make sure you set some things up, because what's going to wind up happening is you're going to fall apart. You're not going to do the assignments. And it's just a domino effect. Boom, 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 boom,
Mm,
boom. So you really learning how to, we need to learn to accept one, acknowledge and say, hey, it's okay to not be okay. But then when do you realize this is going on too far, and how do you start learning to regulate, and then just learning what you need to help you navigate through that. So now I'm at this point, like with my depression, because I deal with it. I'm still on antidepressants, but I'll have these spells and I already know, and I'll be like, okay, I'm going to just go lock myself in my closet. And I try to be very honest with my kids. I was like, mom's having a very bad day. I need some space. I'll go cry it out. And then I'll be like, okay, we got it out. Let's go on. And if it continues for more than a couple of days, and that's usually when I start reaching out, and I'll be like, hey, I'm not doing well. I'm struggling. And this is something that I don't see too often. So I'm figuring this out, because I
mm.
also want my children to know, how do you navigate these things in a healthy way? How do we be honest? How do we be human in a healthy way? But just going back, you need these skills when you get to school, because you have to be able to, I mean, you have to speak for yourself. You have to you this is you. This is you at the table. And if you can't stand up for yourself in a classroom, if you can't defend yourself, provide valid justification
Mm.
to what you are, where you're at, the place you're at, you're going to have a hard time in college.
In your observations, where do people learn that, how to stand up for themselves, how to voice themselves? Or is it a
Oh,
learned thing when you do in public? Is I don't know. This is just kind of me asking right now, just out of curiosity, out of just observation, where people learn how to speak up for themselves. I mean, does that come with confidence? Is it a learned thing? Is it something they learn from their family, their peers?
I think it's a combination. One, seeing it. I just realized I just moved my camera. Now you guys can't see my hand motions, and I'm like very. um, One is seeing it. It's hard to act when we don't know what it looks like.
Yeah.
Um, and then honestly, it's just falling into situations where you decide, you know what, enough is enough. I'm not going to stand up for this, and I'm just going to do this. I remember when I was first teaching, was I an assistant? Maybe I was a graduate assistant, and I was teaching a lecture on it was like gender roles in Latina literature,
Mm.
and I was emphasizing how the culture in the Latin cultures, it's very common to have this machismo attitude. And so I was just teasing it out, and a student came up to me and she said that, well, the next day a student came up to me and she said, I had no idea that my dad was like that. And I went home and I talked to him about it, and he didn't even realize. And it was just like this. It was so cool to see like this. Oh my gosh. Like, so sometimes we don't know it until, I think that's also why I'm an English major, just because I love language, because it helps us
Mm.
articulate. Sometimes we just need to have that language to articulate. And then that really helps brings us a sense of awareness. And then we see that. And then at the end of the day, it's up to us to choose to step up to those moments where we speak up for ourselves, or we just choose to keep on.
Yeah. It's up to you to put into practice what you experience. Well, so I hear in the background, your children are really getting into their games right now.
Yeah, so they might start yelling.
That's
They might
fine.
start yelling.
So let's circle back then to college, and you've experienced college. I've experienced college. There's I enjoyed my time. I enjoyed the relationships I made. I did, and I agree with you. Actually, one of the best lessons that I learned that I till this day I remember, two valuable lessons from separate professors. The first lesson that I learned from one professor, he was my interdisciplinary communications professor. He said, "Hey, what's a grade?" He goes, "The grade
Mm.
is simply the professor's opinion of who he thinks you are, but is that really who you are? Don't seek your identity in the grades you make." And it's funny because that same
Mm.
professor, he was giving us hard assignments, and I was like making it like A, B, or not. It was more like B, C kind of. And then the very last assignment he assigned, I kind of half-assed it, but I got it done. I did. I remember it was some kind of I had to do a survey, and I just didn't. I didn't want to waste a whole day doing a survey, so I kind of made a quick little survey and went out in public. I interviewed like a few handful of people, and that was what I used to make my hypothesis. Anyway, at the end of the class, because he was a hard teacher and he had the reputation for being the hardest teacher, but at the end of the class, you're taking the final exam, and the very last question is an essay. He goes, "Given the amount of work that you put into this class, what grade do you think you deserve?"
Oh,
And
ah.
I know, and I was like, I answered honestly. I was like, I would like to say I deserve an A, but I know that I could have done more, and I should apply myself more. And if I get an A, I would love it, but I know I deserve a B. And he gave me a B. He actually graded
Mm.
everyone by the answer they gave themselves at the final grade. Everything you did, all the heartache, it went back to that one thing, and that's when I realized, the grade is really how I see myself, and that changed my whole perspective in college. And then the second lesson I learned from computers, actually no, okay. There's three valuable lessons I learned from college, and the second one, no, he was I want to say one of I want to say government professor. He was crazy. He was all over the place, but he basically said, you got to know this lesson, and you touched on this just now. He's like, college is simply it's simply a place where you learn how to learn. It's here to teach you how to find answers for yourself. That's why we send you out to do research papers and all this stuff, because we want you, when you get done here, we want you to be able to find the answers for yourself beyond college. And that was another valuable lesson. And the third valuable lesson I learned was from my this is more practical. This is from my computer teacher at Southwestern. He's like, "All right, guys, I'm gonna give you a life hack. What you need to do is you buy some isolated alcohol, like 70 proof and 90 proof, whatever it is. You get one of those." And he goes, "Every day when you're done, when you brush your teeth, you dip it in there and you leave it to dry." And he goes, because you think about it, most people, especially when flu season comes along, most people get sick and they have germs, and they brush their germs from their teeth, they rinse it, but they're still germs, and they leave it there, and these germs accumulate, and the first thing they do the next morning is get the same germs and put them back into their mouth. So he goes, when you do is you do this every night, and basically every morning or every time you brush your teeth again, you have a sterilized toothbrush. I put that into practice, and kid you not, when everyone in my dorm was getting sick and ill, I was not. I was like, there's something to be done with this. Like, everyone was like passing germs around. I was good. And to this day, I still practice it. Now, when Rona hit, they actually ran out and I couldn't find any of this stuff. And I was like, so I use what's it called? Hydrogen peroxide.
Hydrogen peroxide. Yeah.
Hydrogen peroxide. It kind of does the same thing, but I like the smell of the alcohol from the rubbing alcohol. And when I found out, I was like, I remember sending a text to a good buddy of mine, like, "Look, I found some." He was excited for me, and I bought like 2 bottles in case they ran out again, because they're running out of toilet paper again. It comes in waves. But yeah, those are the 3 valuable lessons I learned in college.
Boom.
You are not the great. The grade is simply professor's opinion who you are. It's not who you are. College is made to help you find answers for yourself, and dip that toothbrush in alcohol. And I word on my success to those 3 things I learned in college.
for 5 years.
I paid
X amount.
$60,000 for those three
Yeah.
ballet lessons.
Hey, but when you think about it, like you haven't gotten sick, saving you X amount of money and medical bills.
That is true.
There you go. There you go.
That was not sickness. That was
Dry cough.
that was a coffee going down the wrong pipe. But back to your children. And
Yeah.
since you've experienced college, I've experienced college. The people who are watching now have experienced college. Do you think college is for everyone? Do you think college is for your kiddos?
I love my kids. So my daughter, she wants to go to school and be either an engineer or an architect. And she asked me from an early age, she's like, Mom, what's the highest degree in my field? Or what's the highest degree in general? I was like, well, a PhD. And she's like, I want a PhD. And she got out of middle school sports. She was like, I'm done. I made experiences. I'm not here for sports. I'm just ready to get out, Mom. College. That's it. Boom, boom, boom. And I never pressure her at all. My son, this is one of my favorite stories to say. He was like, we were driving and he was like, Mom, I see kids stress out about getting really good grades in high school. So they stay up late, they study on the weekends, they stress out so they can get good grades in high school for what? So they can get into a really good college. Well, they get into a good college and what do? They have to pull all-nighters, they have to work really, really hard. Like for what? For 4 years so they can get a good job. And then they're working in a really good job and they're working 80 hours a week on weekends, staying up late, and they're miserable. I would rather just work at McDonald's, stay home and work on my grind in video games and I'll be very happy. And I was just like,
tell him to work for Chick-fil-A. At least he'll have Sundays off.
So I know, right? Or Hobby Lobby. I don't know. I don't know. I want my kids to go to at least a year or two to see if it is for them. So that way they can get an experience. But honestly, I don't know. And I love how they're so different. Yeah. And I love seeing that. And honestly, I'm stinking proud of them. Sometimes I'm like, you came out of me. Yes. Yes.
Has your son ever dabbled with programming or coding?
He hates coding.
Does he?
He has. Yeah. It's
no
funny.
Worries.
No, he has. Actually, I put them in robotics when they were younger, and they both really enjoyed it until they got to a point, and they're like, yeah. But he's a phenomenal researcher since he was little, and he would. So, I mean, he was young. When Transformers are out, right? Really, the movies, right? I can't remember.
Crush on Megan Fox.
Oh, I know. So there's this scene. Where it's on a computer monitor, they start listing the Transformers who died, and he would pause it and wrote down the list of all of the Transformers, and he went off and he did research and pretty much knew all of these stats about that. And I was like, where did you get their names? He's like, oh, well, do you know that one clip where they have the monitor? Yeah, that's where I got the names from. And I went back to watch it, and it was like 3 seconds, and I was like, how did you get that? And I mean, he's 13 now, and he did this when he was like in second grade, first grade. Yeah. I can't remember. I'm not gonna lie. Part of me is like, where was your mom monitoring your computer research?
Uh-oh, I just lost you. Your audio.
I'm still here. Sorry, my phone just went off.
You're back.
So, yeah, and then flip side though, like my daughter. One of my favorite stories of her is I remember before she even got into preschool, I found her in a room and she had one of my Jane Austen novels, and she was just writing each line, like just writing the words down. And for those of you who are parents, you're at that age, you're working on your motor skills. So actually it's really hard for children. They hold pencils like this. So to be able to hold a pencil like with your index finger, that takes it's pretty advanced to have that fine motor skills. And so there she was just tracing. And I was just like, oh my gosh. So I'm at this point where I'm just emphasizing on giving them the tools, and I want them to know, I want them to be successful. I want them to be confident. I don't want them to be problem solvers. because actually that degree is only going to enhance them, not be the one that makes them better, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, most
So who
definitely.
knows? Who knows? I'm super excited. I tell them all the time, I can't wait to see you grow up and be freaking amazing in this world because you guys are amazing.
Your son can join a frat house and he'll have a brotherhood and have jobs wherever he needs to go.
Oh my gosh. And then I just immediately start thinking of Neighbors and all of those old school and those movies.
All right, so we've been on here for way past the half hour mark, which is okay. That we can go as long as we need to, but I know you have something coming up pretty soon. So let's get to the nitty gritty, the questions that I really want to ask you. Which all these questions have been good, and I really enjoyed our conversation thus far. That we were able to just go into into this because that's education is important, but at the same time, what kind of education. But anyway, one of the main questions that I like to ask all my guests is what disciplines have become canon in your life in your everyday today. What disciplines or practices do you do every day?
Um, I make time to drink water.
Hmm.
That's something that I do. I drink about a gallon, half a gallon to a gallon of water a day. I take care of myself and run. I run to help stress. Um,
Repeat that.
I run. To I run whenever I'm stressed. I run whenever I have a lot in my head and to help just clear it out just because it's that steady rhythm and that cadence and I can just get either lose myself and just focus on the moment. So finding those spaces for me, running gives me that I need. Um, and then there was another one that came to my head: active rest. So Brene
Hmm.
Brown talked about this, and the best example is how many times are you on your phone and you're like, let's say you're doing something and you're really tired and you're like, you know what, I'm going to take a break, and you're just looking at those videos on your social media, and before you know it, you spend 2 hours just scrolling through videos, and you feel guilty because you rested because you knew you were tired, but it wasn't productive rest. So she says what you should do is put your phone away and actually do something that's meaningful. If you want to be on social media, don't beat yourself up. Like, you know what? I'm going to be on social media and I'm going to enjoy it for X
Hmm.
amount of time. Or I'm going to watch a show. I'm going to watch a movie that's what I need. And so it's not feeling guilty, having productive rest. Those things is what really helps me keep going, stay grounded on top of like my yoga.
That's good. That's actually some good advice. I drink water. It might have coffee in it, but I drink water.
I
Actually, I,
drink
as you
water.
know, I do like to put salt in my water. I told you this, like pink Himalayan
Mm-hmm.
salt, because of the minerals and the electrolytes that it needs, especially
Look at
whenever I'm
that.
in the fasted mode. And I do for sure drink at least a liter of that a day, and then about
I
another
can't do
liter
that.
after that. Huh? Of just pure
I
water.
can't do that. I can't do
You
that.
can't. Well,
Well, I haven't
I
tried
have a certain
the
level.
thought of it.
I already got to a point where I like it. To me, it tastes like Gatorade. Well, it doesn't taste. It has the same consistency as Gatorade. That feel that Gatorade has, but not the sugar that Gatorade has. But anyways, I'm used to it, and it's actually kind of pleasant for me. But next question: what little bit of advice, or what one piece of advice would you offer? Can you offer my audience that if they were to start putting this into practice, could kind of help them become the rock star of tomorrow?
Go get a degree. I'm just kidding.
Go get a get a degree.
um.
USA,
Oh, I
USA.
know, right? Harvard,
In
Harvard,
what?
Harvard.
A degree in
um.
what? You gotta ask
Yeah.
that too.
No, no, no. I know. Okay. So, what's a piece of advice that I can give to your audience to help them be the rock star tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
Did I phrase
Uh,
it right?
how do I write it? I used to have it um, neatly written. I need to memorize my own questions, y'all. What is one simple thing or piece of advice that our listeners can start practicing today that'll help make them the rock star of tomorrow?
Okay. And I'm taking this knowledge that I learned from my yoga instructor and actually just my own personal intuition.
Be flexible.
Yeah, right.
Just kidding.
If you can do the pretzel, you can do anything. But actually, there's
Oh, I want a pretzel now from Target.
You need to know, you need to slow down and reflect where you're at and start measuring where you're at. It's important to learn when you show up and you practice anything in life, you need to take some time to measure it. How was this? Gauge, learn to start gauging. Because once you start learning to gauge, you immediately start setting this standard. And then you can come back tomorrow and pass it because now you know how. You know that. And then you can push yourself farther. So in my business, what my hustle is, I created these huge flower walls out of paper, these flowers out of paper, blah, blah, blah. And I would have to work my day job and then I'd come home and work on this. And it was like twisting. And I remember like I would be crying because it hurt. And I remember thinking, I went off and I got a master's here I am working. Like, why am I doing this? And then I started like, I need to learn how to work hard. And I would set this goal. Like, I'm like, okay, I'm in pain. I'm going to do 2 more increments. I got to push it. How far can I get myself? And I would hit there and I'd be like, can I go further? And they'd be like, no, I can't. But then I set this standard and I would come back the next day or the next couple of days. It was like, you know what? You got it. You made it here. Can you go further? And I did. And I met my deadlines. And a lot of that was just from this measuring up.
I'm going to share something. Boom. That's the paper mache that.
Oh, yeah. That's my stuff, guys. I made that with the help of a lot of friends. But yeah.
I helped her once.
Everybody helped. Oh my gosh. Because it was hard, just this twisting and forming. But you know, that experience really taught me what I'm made out of. And it's funny because I'm having this issue with my son where he doesn't want to do something. And I finally like, you know what, son, you have to get in there. And I know it's uncomfortable. I know you don't want to do it, but I need to give you moments and experiences that are hard, where you have to just grind through and push. Because if you tap out now, when you get out there in the real world, you're going to tap out.
Yeah. That's actually a lot of good advice. And, you know, that takes us to the whole other level of a generation that's growing, not having experience or don't know what it's like to have to grind or how to keep doing something that's not pleasant because we are so used to we're so used to instant satisfaction instead of delayed gratification. And that's one thing that I appreciate that I learned growing up in the era that we learned is that we couldn't always get what we wanted, and sometimes we had to work for it or save for it or whatever. Although today, thanks to technology, we can find everything like at a touch of a button. But no, go ahead.
Boom. Going back to full circle, you know how you asked me, why do you think we think education is so important? How many times would we hear our parents say, I don't want you to work as hard?
Yeah.
And I think it sucks. Working hard sucks. But they didn't realize the skills and the gifts that you learn from working hard, and it's priceless. And so somehow I think that's translated where we're like, oh, I don't need to work hard. I shouldn't work hard. Mama says I shouldn't work hard, but we're losing some of those invaluable skills from working hard and getting our hands dirty. So I'm really hoping that in the next generation, because I know I've had these conversations with other parents and other, it's this double-edged sword where we want to protect our kids, but at the same time we realize that we shouldn't always, and we just
We
want to
hurt them.
prepare them right in the long run. So I want to, I want to give my kids the skills and the tools. The other day, Natalie told me, she's like, Mom, oops, there goes her name. Well, now you guys know what my daughter's name is. Um, she was like, Mom, if something were to happen to you and Dad, I would be okay. Like, I know. And I was like, please explain. She's like, I'm pretty confident that I can get a job, make money. I don't know how to cook a lot of things, but I can a little bit. I'll be fine, Mom. I'll survive. I don't even want to cry right now just thinking, like, that's what you want. You want, I was like, this girl's gonna be freaking amazing. That's what you want. That's what I want. So I'm super proud of
That
myself.
is.
I'm just kidding.
Pat yourself on the back.
Oh my gosh.
All right. Final question. If you want people to find you, how can they find you?
Um, Social media, Instagram, Facebook. I
I'm
have 3 different handles,
I'm gonna
so
put up
you
the
can reach
Instagram
out.
right now.
Yeah, if you have questions, I don't check my social media often. I don't really post that much, but post something, drop something. If you have questions about college, really, um, I love that topic, and that's how you can reach me. Send me a DM.
Another thing, ladies and gentlemen, that you should know is that Judith here is also a podcaster, and her show is called Educated Zombies. That's their Instagram, Educated Zombies Podcast. And although she only has the first season up, I think she's been taking a hiatus until second season comes up. Maybe, I'm not sure the plans, but what she does have right now, there's some gold in there. You should go check it out. I mean, you can always go back and watch it. You don't have to always catch the new things. But, and here's the plug, Educate Zombie is part of Low Budget Productions.
Whoop, whoop, whoop.
It is one of the many great podcasts, as is Hey Rockstar, under Low Budget Productions. So whatever social media you're on, if you're watching this on YouTube, well, not so much YouTube, but on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter, go do the thing. You can find Low Budget Productions. Just make sure there's a duck in there. It has to do with where Judith was born, actually, where I grew up. I was born there too, and so was actually. I'm not sure if Mr. Jose was born there or not, but we definitely grew up there. But anyway, normally
And wait, if
go.
you want to go open your own podcast and join this super amazing clique, just DM Low Budget Production because we have a freaking amazing boss man who's your team player and cheerleader. So that's one way to get to know me.
We definitely want more people to join our little clique or our little cult of podcasters. No, we're not a cult. Actually, I've been talking to a few friends who want to do a Spanish podcast, but they want me to jump in there too. I'm like, I mean, I guess I'll jump in, but I can't speak it nearly as fluent as them because they are from Mexico, that they live here on this side. And I mean, when I would talk to him, I would talk to him in Spanish as best I can, but I even get stuck on certain words. But the cool thing is, I can speak English and they understand me just fine. But I'm wondering, we're still throwing out ideas as to what kind of podcast it will be. Obviously, it's going to be something. I was thinking about calling it Mex-Tex instead of Tex-Mex. Mex-Tex, because most of them from Mexico, and I'm the only one from Texas.
I like that. I like that.
But I don't know what kind of topics we'd hit other than just. I want to hit topics on culture shock, both on this side and that side. You know, how we've had to adapt and learn new things. And even now that we've become mixed or we've become adapted, now when we go back to our respective cultures, is it a different shock for us now kind of situation? But anyway, I don't know. I don't know. I'm going to meet with them this Friday again, just to see how things are going and see if they're still up for it. But it's going to probably be 3 of us, a guy and a girl and myself. And he's from Veracruz. She originally from Veracruz. She's from Monterrey. And, of course, I'm from Texas. But we all now abide here in Nashville.
Ooh, that sounds like fun.
Hot
Do
Chicken
it.
Town.
Do
But
it.
anyway,
Do it.
I'm not gonna X you out. I'm just gonna go ahead and do the thing and say thank you to everyone who tuned in to listen in to episode 25. I am halfway done with the fiscal year for Rockstar, because Rockstar was born September. Come September will be 1 full year that Hey Rockstar has been going on. 25 episodes. My goal is to do 50 episodes this year, or this what's it called, season? Yeah, first season's gonna be 50 episodes, and then I'm gonna go into season 2 starting September again, and we're gonna keep that respectively. But anyway, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for checking us out, for listening to us share stories about education. Again, you already know about Low Budget Productions. I don't know anything else other than to say this podcast will be released Monday around noonish. So I have the weekend to work on it, and I was talking to another guest, and I'm gonna try to get her in towards the end of this month or into the next month, given our schedules. And when I tell her I'll do the live stream, and then the Monday's released like the podcast is released Monday after, and she goes, "Dude, that's a quick turnaround. Like, I want to keep these things fast and going
because I'm a rock star.
I'm making podcasts like a rock star."
There you go. And if you guys want me to come back, make sure you put some comments like, "Hey, make sure you bring that chick back. Talk about
Speaking
college."
of comments, Jose Sanchez.
Wait.
That's when I started with it. All right. And of course, thank you to Spectral Bonsai, who said ahoy. I already put up the other things, but this was a funny whenever he's like, "Tech that will blow crap out of the water." Yes.
That's the quote of the day.
All right, rock stars. Thank you once again for showing up. Well, all the way from San Antonio, Texas, and from Nashville, Tennessee, it's Judith Espinoza, Josafat Emiliano, and Miguel. We're just here saying thank you for letting us into your hearts. Thank you for letting us into your homes. Thank you for letting us into your cars. Thank you for letting us into your hearts. So until next time, much love and many